media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. We have unprecedentedly uncovered what is probably the biggest scandal when it comes to Justin Trudeau. Bigger than the Aga Khan, bigger than We Charity, bigger than his lavish vacations over Christmas breaks that are billed to taxpayers. Foreign interference is at the heart of our hot button issues these days. It is definitely the roundtable discussion when it comes to Canadian politics. In fact, last Friday on the stream, we broke yet another viewer record. Well, thank you very much to everybody who came out, but make sure you come into our live streams because, man, do we talk about a lot about politics, and we talk a lot about what's currently happening in our political state while getting a little bit of feedback from our community. But in that stream, we talked about the report that's come out and why Pierre Poilievre essentially is not reading said report. Now, of course, Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh want to come out and blame Pierre Poilievre and say essentially that, hey, if he doesn't want to read it, then he doesn't care about Canadians. He doesn't care about Canada's future. He doesn't really want to address the issue at hand. Well, what they're doing is baiting him into reading this document because, as you've seen, other political pundits claim that once you read that document, once you're given the super secret security clearance to do so as a party leader, you give up the rights to talk about it. You are not allowed to address anybody's name that is on the list. You're not allowed to talk about anything that came forth in the documents in the unredacted form of this report. But essentially, some MPs, I believe, are breaking that agreement, namely Jagmeet Singh, when he came out last week, when angry reporters were asking him, why are you propping up a corrupt government? Why are you continuing to support the Liberals, even though you're standing here saying you don't agree with the corruption of compromised MPs? To which Jagmeet Singh said, well, it's all Pierre Poilievre's fault. It's all them. It's not me. It's Pierre. Pierre doesn't care. It's hypocrisy. At the same time, he outed the Conservative Party by saying some of Pierre's candidates are corrupt. They're included in that report. Isn't that a violation? And furthermore, by propping up the Liberals, despite reading that report and talking about how disgusted he is, doesn't that make him complicit? I would think so. In fact, someone who questions that, and somebody that we're going to go through here, is a good old interview over the weekend with Vashi Kaplos from CTV's Power Play. She's also on Question Period. And despite my judgment of government-paid shilled prostitutes and Vashi working for CTV, we've seen many reporters from CTV, from CBC, from Global, multiple news outlets that essentially throw softballs at left-leaning parties because, well, they pay the bills. They don't want to rock the boat, so to speak. But Vashi simply, lately at least, has not held back or pulled any punches when it comes to asking the questions that need to be asked. Now, over the weekend, she sat down with Jagmeet Singh, CTV Question Period, tweeting out, why will the NDP continue to support the Liberals despite its criticism over the Fed's handling of foreign interference? Jagmeet Singh says, I'm worried about foreign interference in an election, so I don't want to cause an election to address foreign interference. Again, he's making a mountain out of a molehill and saying, guys, I'm more concerned about your rights. I'm more concerned about your security. So I'm the hero who's not going to cause an election, even though I'm propping up the guys who are causing foreign interference because, well, that'll cause more foreign interference. He's essentially trying to paint himself as jumping on the grenade, so to speak, when in fact, he's part of the problem, and I'm willing to bet that there are members of his party addressed in this report as well. Again, time will tell as we head into the last week of Question Period before summer break. Again, I think over the summer, you're going to see more come out. You're going to see more discussions about this. I think things are going to heat up quite a bit. Let's take a listen to what went on between Vashi and Jagmeet Singh, because the hypocrisy is astounding, especially when talking about his complicity. Now, just a warning, the audio on this is only on one channel. I don't know why it's not in stereo. So I've boosted it as much as I can. So my apologies. I'll have subtitles on down below so that you guys can keep up with what's going on. Let's take a listen.
The other conclusion you reached, which you talked about, was saying that your impression now is that the Prime Minister is essentially okay with a level of foreign interference occurring in this country. That's a pretty serious thing to say. At the same time, you have endorsed his government. You're keeping Mr. Trudeau in power as Prime Minister. Doesn't that make you complicit?
Not at all. And I want to make this point really clear. I'm worried about foreign interference in an election. I don't want to cause an election to address foreign interference. What I want to do is use my power in a minority government to get answers. I can be very clear. When I was critical of Justin Trudeau, I was equally critical of Pierre Poilievre. I can say with great confidence that neither one, if there was a majority government under Justin Trudeau or a majority government under Pierre Poilievre, neither of them would have allowed for a public inquiry. Both of them have shown behavior where they put the interests of their own party ahead of the country. And there are certain incidents that should absolutely call in anyone who cares about our country to put our country first. And that's why I was very critical of Pierre Poilievre for not even wanting to know what's in there when clearly there's allegations of foreign interference directly related to the Conservative leadership races, touching his party directly, and he doesn't.
So once again, Jagmeet coming in, pointing out that there are people tied to the Conservatives that are in this document. Is he not allowed to do that? Am I missing a point here? Is that not part of his agreement when he reads as a party leader, when he signs off his parliamentary privilege, that he is not allowed to say those things? I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. Just seems to me like he's discussing things he shouldn't be discussing.
Want to know. And that Justin Trudeau did know. And the example I gave was Mr. Dong, which is publicly available, and that's why I can use that example, is that with Mr. Dong, it was clear that he was briefed, given information about foreign interference from intelligence officers and intelligence officials, and accepted a certain level of interference because he didn't say that we're going to remove the candidacy of Mr. Dong. What I want to point out to Canadians as a leader, we vet candidates. If someone has done an egregious tweet or post, they are sometimes vetted out. That means they cannot run.
But this isn't just like a candidate with a bad
foreign
record.
Interference.
This is such a serious allegation. Like, you've spent the past 2 days talking about how seriously you are taking it versus other leaders. But you have to see from the vantage point of Canadians how, I get what you're saying, forcing an election right now, maybe not the best avenue. But your agreement doesn't have to remain as a formality. Just because you break out of that agreement and stop your clear endorsement of the government doesn't mean that you have to cause an election. You can still vote with them on certain matters of confidence. But you appear unwilling to do anything to change that agreement, even when you accuse the Prime Minister, whom you're keeping in power, of being okay with a level of foreign interference in our own country's political system.
Well, I think that's factual. The facts bear out the fact that he's accepting a certain level of foreign interference. When we vet candidates out as leaders based on an egregious post on social media, we should be able to vet out candidates when there is serious allegations of foreign interference. But I want to be clear. We have used our power. We have been very critical of this government and forced them to do things they would not have otherwise done. I made the point that a majority Conservative government under Pierre Poilievre or a majority Liberal government under Justin Trudeau, neither of them would have moved ahead with public inquiry because we can see in their actions their unwillingness to take this seriously. But we forced a public inquiry to happen.
But they're doing nothing right now. Both of them are doing nothing right now. The government is doing nothing on foreign agents.
Let me be very clear. We are the first ones to call for a public inquiry. The government said no. And then they said maybe we'll do a special rapporteur. They had the special rapporteur. We had the special rapporteur step down as a result of our opposition motion. We forced the government to move forward on a public inquiry. And then not only did we force the public inquiry, we forced the public inquiry to include India after clear information and intelligence related to India's involvement of the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil. We have used our power in a minority government to purposely push for more transparency and clarity, which would have not been there if we had a majority Liberal or Conservative governments.
So Jagmeet Singh essentially saying he's the hero of the day, right? None of the other guys want to talk about this, but I'm the only one who's pushing for a public inquiry. Vashi making a very good point. Why are you not disbanding your agreement with the Liberals to support the Liberals? Doesn't mean you have to call an election. What we're seeing here is Jagmeet Singh essentially saying that there's no party you can trust other than the New Democratic Party. That Jagmeet Singh is so open, so transparent that they've used their power, which is debatable. I've said multiple times, Jagmeet Singh is like the kid at the kids' table trying to sit with the adults. He has no power. He has nothing. He thinks that he has power with the Liberals because if he forces an election, it's all over for them. But what the Liberals know, and what all of us know, is that he doesn't have the stones to call an election because it's the end of his career. It's the end of multiple NDP candidates' careers as soon as that election gets called, and he's running out the clock, essentially. Not only did Jagmeet Singh sit down with Vashi, so did Trudeau's alleged mistress, Melanie Joly, who sat down and once again is under the hot lights of Vashi when discussing foreign interference. Now, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says there are some MPs who are traitors to this country, including himself, after reading the NSI COP report on foreign interference. Melanie Joly insists, oh, there's no traitors in the Liberal caucus, saying, listen, if that was the case, they would be out of the Liberal caucus. Well, here's the problem. And I know this is turning into a lengthy video. I'm trying to be as thorough as we can. She is a Liberal saying, trust the Liberals. The government is going to investigate the government and find that the government did nothing wrong. Right? This is insane. If there were Liberals like this in the caucus, they'd be thrown out. So what about Justin Trudeau, who has his admiration for China? What about Marco Mendicino? What about Han Dong? If you remember when Han Dong, and Jagmeet Singh used that as a point of backing up his information. Han Dong, when he was first outed, the Liberals defended him. The Liberals said, no, he wouldn't do that. Do you remember when he stood up and resigned and he was crying in the House of Commons and everyone's, oh, geez, Han Dong has to step down. No, they wouldn't throw anybody out of their caucus. Let's take a listen here because, again, Vashi polls
I wanted to
the things. Again, only one channel of audio. I don't know why, but I'll keep the subtitles on, folks. Let's take a listen.
start off on the topic of foreign interference. And in particular, I want to ask you very, very pointedly, are there, quote unquote, traitors to this country, as Jagmeet Singh put it, in the Liberal caucus?
Listen, when I hear these loaded words, I feel that it's really hurting our democracy. Because fundamentally, foreign interference is a real thing. It's been happening for years. Now it's more of an issue because also of disinformation, misinformation online. But all democracies in the world are facing this. I'm talking about this with my colleagues of different democracies, particularly amongst the G7, and we are the country that is the most forward-leaning on this issue. We're the only country having a public inquiry on this, and the goal is to shed light on the issue and also to find solution, but the goal is not make it a partisan issue.
So I want to cut in right there because, again, I don't want to miss the points that are being made. She says, well, we're the only ones to have an inquiry about this. Yes, after it was forced and you said no. Again, the government should investigate the government. They wanted a rapporteur. Remember how that went during the Emergency Act inquiry? Oh, we want a special rapporteur who's paid and friends with the Liberals who's going to investigate the government and find the government did nothing wrong. Again, they think that we're stupid. They think that we believe the garbage that comes out of their mouths.
Is that what you're accusing Jagmeet Singh of doing by using that language?
No, I'm accusing Pierre poilievre of doing that. Because fundamentally, what we need to make sure is that everybody has the same facts. So Pierre poilievre right now, the Conservatives, are not taking the briefing on NSI-COP, on this Foreign Affairs Committee that lots of people have been talking about, and that's what we're talking for those watching us right now. And he's not taking the briefing. He doesn't want to have access to confidential, secret information, while other parties' members and other, basically other parties have decided to take it. And right now, he's making it a partisan issue and also saying, basically, if foreign interference is happening in his own caucus, he won't do anything about it.
And I think those are very real questions to ask the Conservative leader and ask the Conservatives, and I have been asking the Conservatives, but my question to you was about the content of what Jagmeet Singh and how it applies to the Liberal caucus in particular. He used the language that there were traitors to this country, and I'm asking you very pointedly, and you didn't provide an answer, whether or not there are any people in the Liberal caucus who are acting on behalf of foreign countries.
listen, if that was the case, they would be out of the Liberal caucus and they should be out of every single party. And that's why my job as Minister of Foreign Affairs is if I see anything that is linked to foreign diplomats not staying in their lane, not abiding by the Vienna Convention, not basically meddling in our democracy, I set them packing. And that's exactly what I did with Zhao Wei last year, a year ago, when I addressed this issue, and I made sure that he was called persona non grata. And Zhao Wei is the former Toronto consul for China.
So again, she's a traitor. This man is a traitor. Anybody who wants to question why this report should not be shown, why they shouldn't be having an inquiry, why we shouldn't be questioning the meddling of security within our country when it comes to foreign interference, they're all traitors. They want to paint Pierre Poilievre as such a demon. Like, oh, this is all about him. He doesn't care. He doesn't want this information to come out unless we muzzle him and he reads the document. That's what they're essentially arguing on national television, is this man is a demon because we're not allowed to muzzle him for him to access information that you can never know anything about. Am I the only one that doesn't think that makes any sense? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I think they should jail each and every one of them. They should do a deep dive into all of them, and anybody found with a shred, even if they're conservative, a shred of Chinese involvement, get them out of here. Any kind of foreign interference. I don't care if it's European interference, if it's Russian interference, if it's Chinese, if it's anything American, get them out. We have security in this country for a reason, and we need to maintain our elections, our integrity. I don't know what else to say. It's Looney Tunes over there. It's absolute Looney Tunes. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, if it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. While you're hitting that button for the subscribe, make sure you click your bell for notifications. Join us live here on the channel every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, where we go over a lot of stuff like this, as well as everything else that happened in the week of politics, and we do some back and forth within our community. Again, guys, we broke a viewer record last week, and it would be great to continue either maintaining that or breaking past it each and every week here on the live streams. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there. It's definitely the highlight of my week, and I will be looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say this upcoming Friday. Again, starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. I hope you guys have yourselves a great rest of your day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and I'll catch you on the next one.